This is the Power of Pro Wrestling, a podcast by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. On this episode of the podcast, we're going to be talking about if WWE should hold brand-specific pay-per-views. We'll give our predictions for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view and our favorite Elimination Chamber memories next on the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast. And welcome to a very special Elimination Chambers prediction show for the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast. This is your host, Robert Red. And for this very special Elimination Chamber show, I want to be joined by not one, but two guests. First, I am joined by Jake. How you doing, Jake?
Pretty good. How's it going?
It's going good. And I'm also joined by first-time guest of the podcast, Micah. How you doing, Micah?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here. Invited me.
Well, I'm glad to have both you guys on. So this is kind of a almost a round table. If we had a fourth guy or person, I should say, this would be a round table. As you heard all of the podcast, we're going to be talking our favorite Elimination Chamber moments. We're going to give our predictions for the show. But first, we're going to get into the discussion topic, which is, should WWE have brand-specific pay-per-view? So I'm going to read some background information, and then we'll get into our discussion. So, premiering in 1993, Raw has been WWE's flagship brand for more than 20 years, going head-to-head with WCW on Monday nights. Years later, WWE would introduce a new program on Thursday nights called SmackDown. After defeating WCW in the Monday Night Wars in 2001, WWE was able to acquire many of WCW's talent along with ECW talent. After the acquisition, it was determined that due to the influx from both WCW and ECW, WWE need to split into brands with Ric Flair and Vince McMahon being in charge of said brands. After the brand split occurred, the roster was split between the two new brands, with pay-per-views remaining a joint venture at first, but later changed to be brand-specific. So I'll start with Jake, and then we will go to you, Micah. So, Jake, should WWE have brand-specific pay-per-views? They've done it in the past. Do you feel it's a good idea? Should they continue to it? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. I mean, if you've got two different brands that are going a different path, you're not showing, the same superstars on both brands, then, I'm down for it. They need to have at least, 4, maybe 5 that have, combined for sure. I do like when they combine the brands and have, title matches for both, for the World Heavyweight Championship and for the, Universal Championship.
Okay. What's your thoughts on this, Micah? Do you think WWE should have brand-specific pay-per-views like they're doing now with, like, Elimination Chamber being this Sunday? It's a SmackDown-only pay-per-view. Should WWE continue with this model? Or just what's your thoughts? Do you like it, don't like it?
Well, I mean, I like how they do, like, brand specific. Like you said in the past, they did do it before. I remember that, but now when they're doing it, it seems like they've added more pay-per-views into it. It seems like they're doing some, every couple weeks. I mean, I'm not knocking that. I mean, I like watch wrestling as much as everybody else. It just seems like they're doing too much, like adding more pay-per-views so they can maybe have more brand specific. I mean, if they had, about the same number of pay-per-views or a little bit less or whatever, it just seems like they added more just so they could do that. And then even with that, for someone like me, sometimes I have to miss watching, SmackDown or Raw because I'm busy working or whatever. I can catch up when they do the brand specific pay-per-views. Oh, I missed this, past couple weeks on SmackDown. Oh, this is what's going on. Okay, because they'll recap, a feud between two people before their match. I think it's a decent idea. It seems like now they're doing the pay-per-views more often than they had.
I mean, I'm going to, reiterate on that a little
fine.
bit. The reason I like it so much is the fact now, I mean, back in the day, yeah, it was just for money. Now it's more, if you get 2 pay-per-views and you have the WWE Network for $9.99, it's you get 2 pay-per-views in 1 month, and I like that. That's what I enjoy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the brand-specific pay-per-views. I mean, it is cool, and like you mentioned, Micah, being a wrestling fan, I do like the more content. And from a business standpoint, WWE kind of holds to it's more content, it's more bang for your buck because you're paying $9.99 and you're getting more for that $9.99 that you're paying. So from a business standpoint, I get why they do it. I originally, when they did the brand-specific pay-per-views, they would have Raw would have one month, the next month would be SmackDown. I really didn't like that because Raw I always felt was on a bigger platform back then than SmackDown. Although SmackDown, some people have said, were a better product in the early days of the brand split, kind of like it is now. I didn't really like it because the SmackDown pay-per-views always felt lesser than Raw. I guess maybe I was a Raw fanboy, but oh well. And I didn't like it for that reason. But now, I don't really like the brand-specific pay-per-views because, like, for SmackDown and Raw, to me, they don't have the depth of talent that they need to host a brand split. Because, like I mentioned in the background information, you have that influx of talent from WCW and ECW, and like WWE's mentioned, that put about 90 wrestlers influx into the company. So it made sense to split them up, and you would have the depth in the roster to be able to have Raw's pay-per-view this month and then next month be SmackDown. It's just right now I don't feel they have that depth because, like, we're going to be discussing in the next segment. There's 7 matches. A couple of them are probably going to be thrown on the pre-show. That's 5 matches. That's not going to fill out a full 3-hour show. So that's why I'm really against the brand-specific pay-per-view. So do you guys have anything to add before we go to break? Or okay. Well, don't go anywhere. Coming up next, our Elimination Chamber pay-per-view predictions. So don't go anywhere. We'll have those coming up right after this.
This is Jake Neal, and you're listening to the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast.
Welcome back to the show. It's now time for us to give our predictions for this Sunday's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, we're going to start with Apollo Crews and Kalisto versus Dolph Ziggler in a 2-on-1 handicap match. So let's go with Jake. What's your predictions on this match? Who do you think's going to win come this Sunday?
For some reason, and as much as I hate to say this, because you know I'm not a big Dolph Ziggler fan, I've said it in the past, I'll say it again. For some reason, I feel like he's going to pull it out of his butt and win this match. I do, and that's who I'm going with in this one. I'm going to go with Dolph Ziggler just because they're trying to give him a huge heel push right now, and I feel like it's going to fit into where they're headed with him. So,
okay, what's your predictions and thoughts on this match, Micah?
I say with them giving Dolph Ziggler the heel push, I can actually kind of see him losing this match, and just have that anger in him, just so he has more to feed on to have more of a heel push. I mean, with Kalisto and Apollo Crews, they're both good fighters. Kalisto and Dolph Ziggler, they've had it a little while, and with 2 people fighting him on one, he's just like, oh, I could probably beat these 2, but he's going to have more confidence going in there. So with him having the more confidence, I think he's going to get too confident, especially, him going toward the heel push. I can just see him end up losing it, but with that helping him out with that as well.
Okay, so your pick's Ziggler?
My pick is Apollo Crews and Kalisto winning this.
Okay. I could see that from what you've mentioned, just for the simple fact you've had the frustrated Dolph Ziggler not winning matches, and what he's kind of done on SmackDown is he'd lose a match, get upset, angry, and attack someone. So I could very well see the story progressing to where Dolph Ziggler loses to these 2 because they have the advantage, and he just gets upset and starts waylaying them. Maybe he gets himself disqualified. I don't know. I would think with the numbers game and just where they're going with the story, I would think Crews and Kalisto would probably win it. But they may have Ziggler overcome the odds and cheat to win. So I'm kind of torn here. I'm probably going to regret this, but I'm going to go with your pick. I'll go with Crews and Kalisto. I'm probably going to be wrong and regret it. There's no.
What I want to know is why has Crews not been pushed for a title yet?
Well,
he's a Vince guy, 100%. Look at him.
Yeah,
I mean, you'd have thought he'd have done been pushed, but
yeah, that's true. I really don't have an answer for that. I think maybe he's not as experienced as that they want him to be. He was called up from NXT pretty early, so I really don't know. And I would like to see him get pushed because he is very good. Let's move on to As the World Turns and Nikki Bella versus Natalya.
As the world turns, that's a lovely phrase to put it.
Yeah, so actually, let's start with you since you're already going, Micah. What's your thoughts on this feud and who you think's going to win it?
Well, okay, from the get-go, when Nikki Bella got attacked at Survivor Series, when Natalya is magically there to step in to take her place as team captain, and just right off the bat, I knew it was her. It was no mystery to me. I knew it was her off the bat, and for them to take so long to be, it's just like, oh, I finally admit I done it. That I was just like, everybody knew that she done that. Why did they take so long? But for them to, have it out, I honestly have a hard time choosing who I think would win this match, because Nikki Bella, she's pretty mad over this whole thing. She could just waylay on Natalya, no problem, and beat her. But the same fact, Nikki's got that neck injury. She takes a couple hits to that neck. She's down. She's more worried about her neck than anything happening in the match. She just kind of, crunches in. She's not as confident. And Natalya hits that enough, she can easily overpower her and her win that too. But I think honestly Natalya would probably win it if I had to pick one. But I do have a hard time picking between the two of them.
Okay, Jake, what's your thoughts on this match and who's your pick?
I'm ready for this feud to be over.
I
Can Nikki just take her time off now, please? I love her. I do. That's my future. Whoa, what happened to that?
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Natalya on this. I just got to, just because, like she was saying, with the neck injury, she's everybody knows she's done. She's taking time off. Why keep pushing her? Push somebody else. In my opinion, if I was, writing the storylines, but I'm not. So.
Yeah. You're here sitting with me talking on a podcast, so yeah, we're not writing the storylines.
Having technical difficulties in here.
Yeah, apparently so. I think I'm going to go Nikki Bella on this one, just for the simple fact. I mean, you've got to end this. I think the collective wrestling world is kind of tired of this. Natalya's kind of been getting over on Nikki. She just attacked her on Talking Smack this past Tuesday. So a lot of Natalya's been hitting below the belt. So, I mean, you need to let Nikki kind of overcome this one. And I think her career is getting ready to wind down with what Micah mentioned with the neck and stuff like that. So I think we would see a Nikki Bella swan song here and let her beat Natalya because of the rumors of what she was doing at Mania. I think you're going to let Nikki win this one. Let's move on to our other non-title match, and it's another women's match. I know you love this one, Micah, so we'll start with Jake and get to you. It's the Becky Lynch and Mickie James. So, Jake, what are your thoughts on this match, and who are you picking to win?
Mickie James is back. Whoop, whoop. I've been waiting on this for a minute, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's for real. Becky Lynch has been being pushed a lot here lately, but then again, you got a veteran like Mickie James that has just, recently come back. I didn't see her being the luchadora at all, but when I was excited when she come out as the luchadora. But hey, it's going to be a good match. It's either way you go with it. They're both great wrestlers. This one's probably going to be the toughest one to pick. I'm going to go with Becky Lynch.
Okay, that's interesting. Micah, I know you're something to pick for this one, so what'd you pick?
Yeah, well, I'll say, yeah, I'm a good Becky Lynch fan. I'll be behind her for as long as I can, but I do like Mickie James. I missed her. I wasn't expecting her to be La Luchadora. I wasn't expecting her to come back. I knew she'd taken time off from wrestling, had a kid, whatever. Not a lot of women that's wrestled after they've had kids come back. So I was just like, oh, okay, maybe, she'll do a few indie shows. Wasn't expecting it. I am looking forward to this match just so I could see her fight again because I saw when she came back. I hadn't really had a chance to watch SmackDown since then, but I can see them putting on a good match together. And possibly see Mickie James winning, but at the same time, I mean, yeah, she just come back. Yeah, she's a veteran. And, it's been a while since she's had a pay-per-view match. I don't know how long she can last in a pay-per-view match, so Becky Lynch ended up might winning this. I can see, actually, even though I am a Becky Lynch fan, I love her to pieces, I can actually see Mickie James winning this.
Okay, so that's your pick is Mickie James?
Yeah.
She had a pay-per-view match in NXT, didn't she?
Yeah, she fought
Yeah, I thought so.
Asuka.
Oh yeah, I'd forgot
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so I actually wasn't surprised by her being La Luchadora. People are going to look at me crazy when I say this. I really wanted her to be Nikki's attacker. Now, I don't know how much you guys remember this or not, but her and Cena had a kind of dealings in the past. So I was hoping that Mickie James was going to be her attacker and do that jealous girlfriend angle. Like, I had John Cena, I want him back, stuff like that. That would have been a cool angle. When they revealed it was Natalya, and they started doing the whole La Luchadora with Alexa Bliss, I'm like, this is perfect for Mickie James. And then that night, that the reveal was in Memphis, and I'd heard she was backstage, so it didn't take me as a surprise. Really, you need to establish some credibility with Mickie James. I mean, she may just be the veteran coming back to help other people out, and she doesn't mind losing at this point. I think you really do need to let Mickie James win. Realistically, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. This may be a Becky Lynch match. So I'm going to stick with Becky. A lot of my picks tonight or today or the show, well, it may be wrong, but I'm going to go Lynch on this one.
I mean, that's the way we all went. So
Yeah.
if that's the case, we're all wrong on that one.
Okay. Well, let's move on to our last non-title match, and this is kind of like the bigger ones. It is going to be between Randy Orton and Luke Harper. So we'll start with Mike on this one. Thoughts on the match and who's going to win it?
I can see it being a good match, but honestly, I could see Randy Orton winning it, just because even though Luke Harper's the main been the main Wyatt family this whole time. Randy Orton just coming in. He's like, why are you bringing this outsider in here? He didn't really like Randy from the start being there, but like I said, I just pick Randy to win this match because I can see him just blowing over Luke Harper, no problem. I can tell he kind of really doesn't want to be a part of the Wyatt family, so, just perfect chance to, I guess, beat somebody in the Wyatt family just to be like, oh, hey, I'm a part of y'all, but, at the same time, don't really want to be here, but this is my way of showing I don't want to be here, but, him and Bray Wyatt, it was Bray Wyatt's idea, for them to just basically get it out because he knew they had a problem with each other. So, but I can definitely see Randy Orton winning this match.
Okay. Jake, what's your thoughts?
Man, I'm kind of torn on this one because, don't get me wrong, I mean, how many groups has Randy Orton been in now? Been a part of? I mean,
quite a few. You've had Evolution, Legacy. You have Wyatt family now, so I think probably about 3.
Yeah, and this is my favorite of all of them. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton are working together. I love it. It's one of my favorite gimmicks that they've got going right now. But the whole Luke Harper and Randy Orton, man, it's just I don't see the route they're going with this unless there's a fact that Bray Wyatt might try to get involved in the match somehow and him actually hit Randy Orton and then go towards their what the rumors are for Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. So I could see it being a disqualification match or someone getting disqualified in the match, and that being Luke Harper. So Randy Orton would win the match, but by disqualification.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking on it. That's my ideas.
Well, I mean, this really is a filler match for Randy Orton, and it does kind of build into the storyline if they do go in the rumors, which we'll discuss later on to have him face Luke Harper. So just to have Randy Orton be the placeholder after winning the Royal Rumble and waiting to see who's going to win the Chamber, this is just a good story to tell because it's something for Randy to do, keep him fresh in people's mind that he's the Rumble winner and he's going to be in Mania the challenge for the title. So just to give him Luke Harper, I did like that dynamic because it goes into the story of them having friction and Luke Harper not really accepting him being in the Wyatt family, and this kind of dates back months ago to where Randy Orton was fighting Bray Wyatt and then he joined forces with Bray Wyatt. So, I mean, I did kind of like this story progression there. So I think you got to keep Randy strong. He's the Royal Rumble winner. I think you got to let him beat Luke Harper, especially with Luke Harper costing him the match against John Cena on this past SmackDown Live. I think it's Randy Orton this one. I'm not really that torn on it. I'm going to go with Randy Orton winning this one. And we're going to go to our title matches, and I believe I've got the Elimination Tag title match. And I'll go through all the teams with you, and you guys can give me your thoughts and tell me who's going to win. So American Alpha are defending the titles, and they're against Slater and Rhino, the Usos, Breezango, the Ascension, and the Vaude Villains. So, who's your pick? We'll start with Jake, and who's going to win and why?
American Alpha is going to retain. I foresee, anyways. Rhino and Heath Slater is that's done. Why is that still going on? And then the Vaude Villains I've never liked from the get go. I've told you that before. The Ascension, they never really went anywhere except they beat the Dudley Boys, but then again everybody did when they came back, so that's not really saying anything. And who was the other? The Usos.
Breezango and the Usos, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm. If anybody else other than American Alpha would win it, it would most likely be the Usos. But I'm gonna stick with American Alpha and retaining the belts. Yeah.
Okay. Your turn, Micah. What's your pick?
I was about to say, I agree with Jake on if American Alpha retaining the titles, if not the Usos winning it, because is it just me or like all of those tag teams? It's like all the gimmicks between them is so way diverse. It seems silly that you put all of them together. And I mean, it's not like it's like silly. Like, why would you do this? It's silly. Just like this is kind of funny. You have all of these different gimmicks together. It's just, I mean, no, don't get me wrong. They're not really that bad, but I also agree with you on the Rhino and Heath Slater. They kind of ran that into the ground. Why are they still with it? But the rest of them, it's just, how do I put this? I like all of their little things that they do. I just, as tag teams themselves, I really don't like some of them. But I totally agree with you on American Alpha retaining. They're a good tag team. I actually saw them fight when they were here in Jonesboro not that long ago. They're really good. Seeing them up close and fighting, it was awesome. I could definitely see them retaining. If not, I could see Usos easily taking it home if American Alpha doesn't get it.
Okay. I don't think I'm divided on this one either. I think it's pretty much cut and dry that Alpha are going to retain the tag titles. You've had them lost, and you gave the Ascension a win on SmackDown, which was good. I love the Ascension when they first came up, but WWE's kind of treat them as a joke. And like you mentioned, to go to that, you do have the SmackDown tag teams are kind of like the gimmick tag teams. You got the Vaude Villains, the guys that are from yesteryear. You got the Ascension that are the Road Warrior knockoff. You got Breezango that are the Fashion Police, or what I like to say is they are Zoolander or knockoffs. You got the Usos that are Street Thugs. So, I mean, Slater and Rhino. So, I mean, you've got a lot of gimmick tag teams like you mentioned. But, I mean, it's American Alpha. I was really waiting until WrestleMania for them to win the tag titles. I felt they got hot-shotted, but since they're the champs now, you don't really have a true threat to them other than maybe the Usos, and maybe that's what I'd like to see, those two go at it at Mania. But I'm picking American Alpha to retain. Let's move on to the women's title match. You've got Alexa Bliss versus Naomi. Now, are you feeling the glow, Micah? Or
I am definitely feeling the glow.
Okay, so who's your pick for this match and why? Do you want the Harley Quinn knockoff, which, hey, I'm not hating on that?
Yeah, don't hate on that, please.
Are you feeling the glow with Naomi?
I'm feeling the glow with Naomi. I am actually glad she's got a title opportunity, and I can see her winning it and actually keeping it for a decent amount of time. So that's my pick is Naomi. I'm actually glad she's got a title match.
Okay, short, sweet, to the point. Jake, your pick.
Yeah, it's taken them long enough. I mean, she came out of the Funkadactyls, with Daggum, what's his name?
Brodus Clay.
Yeah, Brodus Clay. Yeah. But I don't know on this one because I like Naomi. I think she needed a push for a long time. I really have, and but then again, I do like Alexa Bliss. This one I'm torn on as well, but I'm gonna feel the glow on this one. Yeah, I'm going Naomi.
You're going Naomi.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm gonna go Naomi just because I think it's time. I think it's been time, but now I think they just need to go ahead and put it on her and let's create a storyline with someone else instead of Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
I do agree, and kind of my thoughts. Naomi, I do feel, has been the most underutilized woman wrestler that they've had on the roster. I remember her in NXT losing to Caitlyn and just beating out AJ Lee in that season of NXT before NXT became what it was. And I do feel like she's had a lot of talent, and she's a decent in-ring worker for in terms of the women's division. So, I mean, to me, she's been underutilized. So, I would like to see her eventually get the title. I don't think the time is right now. I think Alexa Bliss is going to hold on to the championship. She will walk out SmackDown Live Women's Champion this Sunday at Elimination Chamber. So, my pick is Alexa Bliss. Now, Naomi may win by DQ, and that's how they keep this going. But Alexa Bliss, I will say, walks out as champion. And let's get to the main reason why we're here, the Elimination Chamber matches for the WWE title. So, let me go around. John Cena, and he's against Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, The Miz, Baron Corbin, and AJ Styles. So, what's your pick here, and what's your thoughts on the Chamber match, and what's your pick, Jake?
I like the people that they put in this Chamber match. They're all definitely vying,
they're legitimate
contenders. Yeah, they're legitimate contenders for the title. That being said, Dean Ambrose isn't. They're not going to put it on him again. Not anytime soon, anyways. I can foresee it in the future, but not anytime soon. You got Bray Wyatt, which is I'm going to go ahead and say it now. That's my pick to win because I believe the rumors are going to be true. Bray Wyatt is going to go into WrestleMania as champion, and have to face Orton, and then that just leaves it open for Cena to become the record holder, not just tied with Ric Flair. But it's going to be a good match. It's they say you go in the chamber and you don't come out the same. It's they say it's just as bad as Hell in a Cell sometimes. So it's going to be a good match. This is honestly one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year just for this match. So but yeah, I'm going with Bray Wyatt for sure.
Okay, Micah, what's your thoughts on the match and who are you picking to win?
I say it's a hard choice to pick because like Jake said, there's a bunch of legitimate contenders. They're all good fighters. I'm glad they actually picked some decent people to be all in this match. But, I mean, yeah, with the rumors, I was thinking Bray Wyatt. I honestly don't see Cena walking out of the Elimination Chamber with his title. I'll be honest with that. I don't see him leaving with it. And everybody's like, oh, Bray Wyatt's going to win it. Now, this may seem off the wall. This may seem really weird. But to me, I can actually see Baron Corbin winning it.
Wow, that's an interesting pick. Why Baron Corbin?
Well, okay, when he first came in at WrestleMania, he won the
Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal last year at Mania. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, well, who is this guy? I was like, okay, well, yeah, he came from NXT. I can see him having a good wrestling career. He's doing a good job. He's really strong. I really don't see him having a lot of fans. I'm not that really big of a Baron Corbin fan, but I can see him just pulling it out and winning this.
I'm a fan.
You're a fan?
Oh, yeah. I really like
I am fan, as they say.
Yeah, I am fan.
With the rumors of what was going on with WrestleMania, with Bray Wyatt facing Randy Orton, you almost have to pick Bray Wyatt. So I'm going to pick Bray Wyatt, but I'm going to pitch an alternative ideal. Bray Wyatt doesn't necessarily have to win the chamber match to walk out as WWE champion. You very well could see Cena walk out still champion as Elimination Chamber. You got to realize this is February 12th, if I can do looking at the calendar. Mania is still about 60 days away. SmackDown has a lot of time to fill. You could have Cena sometime, maybe even next month, lose the title to Bray and have him face Orton at Mania. Because you let Randy Orton win the Royal Rumble for a reason. It's not going to be to face John Cena. Now, Vince McMahon may be delusional and say, hey, that's my money match. Actually, I'm going to go Randy Orton, John Cena at WrestleMania 33.
Yeah, for the 220th
For the
time.
250 millionth time, brother.
That was Hulk Hogan.
That meme on Facebook. It's like, yes, this is the match I want to see for the 100th time. Cena versus Randy Orton. They've kind of overdone that in my opinion.
Yeah. So I'm gonna pick Bray Wyatt, but don't be surprised, guys, if John Cena walks out still the champion. Because like I said, we still are about a couple months away from WrestleMania. SmackDown has plenty of time to drop it to Bray Wyatt or put Bray Wyatt as champion. And so, don't be surprised, like I said, if Bray Wyatt doesn't walk out this Sunday as champion, and then sometime in the upcoming weeks he wins the belt. So that's kind of my picks. But that's all the time we have left for this segment. But don't go anywhere. our favorite Elimination Chamber moments next.
This is Micah Hickey, and you are listening to the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast.
It's now time for our final segment of the show. With the Elimination Chamber being this Sunday on pay-per-view, we'll be giving our favorite Elimination Chamber match memories. So we're going to start with you, Jake, and kind of what has been your favorite Elimination Chamber match memories? And it doesn't necessarily mean the pay-per-view had to be an Elimination Chamber one. It can be any time the Elimination Chamber has happened. So any Elimination Chamber memories that you like, that's your favorite?
Yeah, it's going to be the match, obviously, because I love the Elimination Chamber just as much as I do Hell in a Cell. It's one of my favorite times one of my favorite pay-per-views. Like I said, mine's going to be the Goldberg Spear on Chris Jericho through the pod. Yeah.
SummerSlam 2003. Yeah, that was a pretty cool moment. So, any other moments you want to share? Or?
The John Morrison climbing the top, falling down onto Sheamus and eliminating him. That was.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was good. That was really good. I really enjoyed that too. But yeah, definitely the spear through the pod.
Yeah,
Goldberg's definitely.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. Kind of refreshed my memory on that. So that was SummerSlam 2003. So that was cool. Micah, what's kind of been some of your favorite Elimination Chamber match memories?
I'll say one thing that comes to mind in 2009 when it was at Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, but Edge was in both Elimination Chamber matches for Raw and for SmackDown. He overrided the SmackDown one. Kofi Kingston was coming in. He come in, just whooped him and locked himself in the pod, so he would have to be there, have to participate. That was when he was going with that whole, I'm with Vicky Guerrero, and she was one. Oh yeah, that's fine. He can be in that. And if I'm not mistaken, that SmackDown one, he did win that.
Yeah,
if I can remember.
Yeah, he lost one title and then won the other one.
Yeah, if I can remember that right. And anybody else besides me notice if they hold more than one Elimination Chamber match in one night, if they bust one of the pods, like they end up breaking that same pod in the next match. I noticed that it was. I don't remember what year it was, but I remember this. I think it was the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match. I know they had like Big Daddy V and Great Khali in it. My thought was like, oh hey, how are they going to fit? One tall, one one this way too big, one this way too big. But anyway, I remember the one Big Daddy V was in. The pod got knocked loose, and then in the Raw match, the same pod that he was in, it got knocked loose as well. I don't know if that's just something or it was just something I noticed or what. But the one other thing that engraves in my brain is when Undertaker was going to the Elimination Chamber match for SmackDown in 2010. Usually he goes to the ring. He's
2009.
2009. Yeah, it was 2009. The other one was 2010.
Yeah.
I got it mixed up. My bad. Anyway. But when Undertaker was walking to the ring, he's usually slow. I'm always thinking, man, he is taking his time. It's Undertaker. I don't care, but it's just something funny to me. He was booking it to the ring. He threw off his jacket. He was gone. I said, man, he is ready to just get in there and whoop people. I found out later that his jacket had caught on fire and he got second-degree burns on his back. I'm like, oh, that's why he threw off his jacket and he ran. That makes sense now.
That goes. It's like he's talking about the pods breaking or whatever. That's like if you watch real close in the Goldberg and Chris Jericho, he has to hit it twice. He hits the pod twice for it to break. The first time when he actually hit the pod, it didn't break. But that was the only thing that I didn't like about that match. But that was a good one. But sorry, I wanted to ramble for a second.
You're fine.
That's fine. Kind of some of my favorite memories of the Elimination Chamber. Obviously, when it got introduced in Survivor Series 2002, when Bischoff is credited with the creation of it, and just the whole Shawn Michaels story. You had Shawn Michaels, 1998, kind of have to leave wrestling after WrestleMania and losing the title. I believe it was 14 to Stone Cold. And then almost 4.5 years later, you have him coming back, and he faces Triple H in a street fight at SummerSlam in 2002, and then just going on to Survivor Series 2002, and finally winning the title after not having it for probably 4.5, 5 years. And just his combat story was amazing. Another favorite moment was New Year's Revolution 2006, and I'm surprised this one wasn't brought up, but you had the Elimination Chamber, so to retain the title, Vince McMahon comes out and says, "Nope, you're not done for the night."
That was when Edge cashed in the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, you had the cash in of Edge Money in the Bank, and apparently a lot of people logged into WWE.com to see the results. It's like, oh my Lord, Edge is the champion now, so Money in the Bank and all. So that was kind of some of my favorite moments of the Elimination Chamber. But that's all the time we have for this segment. I want to thank you guys for joining me on the segment. We'll start with you, Jake. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Jake_Neal. That's Neal. You can find me on Instagram. That's going to be my store page. It's Atmos_Vapor_Lounge. Then you can find my business page on Facebook. That's Facebook.com/Atmos Vapor Lounge, Jonesboro.
Okay, awesome. Micah, where can people find you on social media?
I say I'm not as social media friendly as you. I only have a Facebook and a Twitter. On my Facebook, you can find me Micah Hickey. Easy to find me on my cover page. Has a picture of my 2 dogs on it. On Twitter, you can find me at Mary Maya 94. It's actually spelled MARIMYA 94. It's actually Mary's my first name, so that's where I came up with that. But that's all 2 pages I've got.
Okay. And you can find me Facebook on there, Twitter at Robert Red Jr. You can find me on Instagram once I get that going. It's Robert Red Jr. Kind of having technical difficulties with it, so I have to get it going again. So got that. My YouTube page, which hopefully I'm going to start doing videos here real soon, maybe of the podcast. It's youtube.com/user/the_Robert_Red. So hopefully you'll start seeing videos and get to see these wonderful faces that you hear on the podcast. Hopefully I'll do a live show on Mixler here real soon. So you can check that out. So stay tuned. I also want to thank you guys for checking out today's episode. You can follow all our episodes online, and I just want to thank you guys again for joining me, and you can catch us next time on the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast. And this podcast is brought to you by the Repost Network. Repost Network. Monetize your SoundCloud content. Sign up today at repostnetwork.com.